Assessment is an integral part of the teaching and learning process. The Centre for Assessment Reform and Innovation has explained that assessment increases understanding for both teachers and students. As it is used over the course of teaching, it allows teachers and students to check and recheck where they are in the learning process. It can allow students opportunities to consolidate their learning, build self-esteem, and support teachers in planning for success. I will be focusing on formative assessment. Innovations which include strengthening the practice of formative assessment produce significant and often substantial gains. Feedback through questioning and student self-reflection are two effective strategies that can be used to teach numbers and algebra. The nature of learning maths and achieving proficiency strands is supported by a scaffolding approach. Students need to be able to understand concepts, rules, and processes of lower level maths for them to progress to higher levels. For example, students need to understand place value prior to learning decimals. By obtaining feedback through effective questioning, teachers can address what students need to know before progressing to the next phase of learning. Teachers can also use this information gained to modify the pace of lessons and the depth of topic coverage. In grade 3, one of the substrands of number and algebra is apply place value to partition, rearrange and regroup numbers to at least 10,000 to assist calculations and solve problems. The teacher could ask the class to divide into pairs and give each group of pairs 5 dice. From the numbers they roll, they need to put them in order to make the highest or lowest number they can. As they are doing this, the teacher could move throughout the class and ask questions such as, why is that the biggest number you can make, and what is the value of this number? If they're able to come up with the correct number but cannot identify values within the number, the teacher is alerted to the fact that he or she is struggling with understanding, and one-on-one teaching can focus on this aspect. Alternatively, if the majority of students are struggling, then sometime at the start of the next lesson can be used to review concepts. In this instance, record keeping can be done through anecdotal notes and at the end of the lesson, but other record keeping methods can be used, such as students' maths journals, checklists, or rubric levels. Effective questioning requires practice, experience, and planning. Teachers need to be clear what their achievement goals are at the beginning of each lesson. Questions that are not challenging are sometimes not answered and do not lead to further thinking or deeper learning. Self-reflection. Feedback and assessment that emphasize progress and achievement builds motivation for learning. Self-reflection supports this theory. As students are given time to look back and analyze their learning, they are able to develop their own learning goals and identify areas where they have been successful. Student reflection is student-focused, and it helps students gain a feeling of autonomy and adds meaning to the learning, consequently building motivation. It is more effective when carried out regularly, and it is good practice for students to get into. It can be done throughout most lessons. In Year 1, in the number and algebra substrand, one of them is recognise, describe, and order Australian coins according to their value. In a lesson found at moneysmart.gov, students are asked to identify aspects of coins such as value, shape, and size. After the task, the teacher could have the students divide into groups of 4 or 5 and have them discuss what coins they found easy to identify, how many they identified, or which ones they found easy to mix up. They could also take this time to problem solve and come up with solutions to identify coins more clearly. And it allows for opportunities for peer support and peer teaching. Students can move about the class, listen to the groups, and identify any students who express difficulties. This will help the teacher identify what coins need to be reviewed at the beginning of next lesson. Self-reflection can also be practiced through individual tasks such as maths journals or portfolios. One-on-one interviews can be conducted and assist teachers in identifying and address maths anxiety. Record keeping can be conducted through making and reviewing contracts between teacher and student, portfolios, self-evaluated rubrics, and journals, which could even include students to reflect on how they felt they went on pre- and post-tests. Student reflection requires students to have a good understanding of their own abilities. Initially, students may need more guidance around the process, and students with learning delays may find this process difficult to implement and therefore may need additional guidance or a different type of assessment to gain the required information. Self-reflection can go hand in hand during the learning process. It encourages students, self-reflection and questioning can go hand in hand in the learning process. It encourages students to become deep thinkers and learners. Both strategies can be used in most lessons and through a variety of methods and under a range of circumstances. When strategies for formative assessment are used effectively, they positively guide teaching for success. Students' learning can be more meaningful, consequently increasing motivation, self-esteem, and retention. Thank you.